Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live stream. I had no idea we are starting, so that was a very unexpected for me. But hey, we're happy to have you here. Andre, how's it going?
Good, good. Hey, everybody. We were just talking with Vera about latest updates, cookies updates in Google. That yeah, and I just decided to start because I saw it was already 12 p.m. here in in New York.
Without any notification. Oh well, that's fine.
Sorry, Vera. You
We'll
go.
take it. I'll take it. That's fine. That's fine. You guys, we're so excited to be on this live today because the topic that we will be discussing is just good. Like I love this topic, and we have a very special guest joining us very soon. Andre, do you want to introduce the topic and what we're going to be talking about today?
Sure. So today we'll be talking about copywriting in general because it's a hot topic on for us on YouTube. A lot of people finding us through this request. They want to learn more about copywriting for emails, specifically for emails. But today we even want to narrow down our focus on abandoned cart because abandoned cart it's one of the highest converting automation in email marketing for e-commerce for D2C brands. So that's why we'll have our lead copywriter joining us shortly, and we'll go over examples, some strategy tips and tricks. Feel free to ask any questions while during the live stream.
Actually, Andre, not one of the highest, but the highest converting flow for a lot of brands, according to Klaviyo 2024 report. I actually found this numbers that abandoned cart flows drive the highest average revenue per recipient for all of the Klaviyo brands. So they just look at all of the brands holistically and then produce this report. So apparently, abandoned cart flow drives the highest average RPR. So it's like 365 per customer and the highest placed order rate. So the conversion rate across all of their accounts in Klaviyo is like above 3%, which is pretty impressive for a flow, if you ask me. So yeah, this is like the flow to discuss today.
Cool. So we're still waiting for Irina. She's
And while we are waiting, Andre, we can actually look into some of the amazing examples of like a really good copy that we have from our clients. And then maybe Irina can join us and give us her feedback as well. But the part I'm looking forward the most is Irina creating the copy in like a real time today on this call. So yeah, that's gonna be fun.
okay. Okay, so let's start with sharing our screens.
Yes, let's do this.
Oh, you know what? I see there's like few people are watching us. Can you please share where you're watching from, like, and who you are? It would be very cool to see
I
if
can
you're still.
start. I can start. I'm Vera, and I'm watching myself from London, UK. So
Yeah, and Andrei doing the live stream from New York. Yeah,
cool. Okay, we have Montreal people, Team
oh, it's,
Canada, go Canada. That's exciting. That's exciting.
I love Montreal. Have
Okay.
you ever been to Montreal? Yeah.
Briefly, like many years ago, but that was like definitely one of my favorite Canadian cities. It's like up there with like Toronto for me. Love it. Love it. Cool. Okay, Andre. So let's start reviewing the emails, the copy that we have, and maybe we can like discuss some strategy behind them as well. I know it's not a part of the discussion today, but strategy is always fun, right? So
Yes.
let's start. Let's start. So the first email is from the client called Winnie Lou, and these are basically one of our clients that sell supplements for like supplements and food for dogs. So I'm first of all, I'm like obsessed with the flow of this email. It's like so easy to follow. It's so beautiful.
Vera, can
And
you zoom in because it's like right now it's like yeah hard to.
Yeah. So here's the flow. Here's the email abandonment cart flow email number one. And typically, what we do with our clients, we don't lead with discount code. And the reason why we never offer discount code in email number one, unless it's like the request from the client, is that these people, they do have high intent of purchase, right? We've just shared these numbers with you. So 3.3% conversion rate for a flow without offering a discount code is pretty impressive. That's why we typically start with like promoting the product, mentioning what makes us different, what makes us better than other brands, why they should proceed with us, basically. So yeah, this is like a
There are some technical things. I don't know why. Maybe your screen is different, but I see only kind of the top and half of the text on the screen. Are you able to switch to your screen so you like right now it's like very far away.
okay.
Do you want me to share
Let
so maybe it will be better for coordination?
try it. Yeah, try sharing it. You see, guys, we're still learning our things in YouTube Live. Meanwhile, we have Philippines with us. That's amazing. So it's like a worldwide stream. North Carolina, USA. Whoop whoop. Cool. I feel like such a blogger, you guys. I feel like such an influencer, you know? While we're resolving some technical difficulties, um, who else is watching us? Where are you guys from? What are you doing? What are you up to this beautiful Friday afternoon? Cool. Okay, Andre. I guess that's better. Yeah, I can see your screen now. Lovely.
Come on. I just want to focus on this email. Okay, are
Okay.
you able to see it? Okay, so
Yes.
now,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
okay.
Cool. Yeah. So, what do you think of this email, Andre? Overall, first impression.
It's uh I, it's hard for me to it's great design. It's hard for me to comment the copy, but I love the from design perspective. I like that we see human there, and I don't know why it's coded. Oh, it's probably coded.
It's probably
Oh,
the GIF.
yeah, it's yeah, because I see there is a picture of a dog in here, so which is kind of like make the picture like the email very live. Okay, I see that Irina is here, so Vera, please introduce Irina.
Yay, Irina! Welcome, welcome to our live. I'm like so happy, so pumped to have you here. Irina is our rock star copywriter, joining us from Calgary, I guess, right, Irina?
Yeah,
I
well, today I'm in Canmore. Hello, everyone. Hi, Vera.
Aw,
I'm
hey, love the
I'm so excited
background.
to be here. Oh, yes. Beautiful. Shout out to the Canmore Public Library.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for making it happen. I know you have like quite hectic lifestyle now, like very adventurous, very interesting. If you want to share it, feel free. If not, that's fine. But thank you for making it happen. You have so much on your plate and you joined us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. This is great. I'm so excited. We have some really awesome examples to go over and like some fun things we're going to talk about with the Abandoned Cart series. So, thank you again for having me. And we'll kind of kick off wherever you guys were before I jumped on.
Cool.
We're actually buying time for you, so you can start.
Yeah.
Oh my
We were
gosh, thank
smart.
you.
We were talking all things not related to email marketing, but happy to have you here finally. So, Irina, we were actually going through one of the emails by our clients. We were discussing mostly the strategy behind this email, but maybe you can shine some light on the copy aspect of it as well. Andre, can you share the screen again? Let's see what we have here. It's that email by one of our clients, Vinny Lou. Tell us more about it, Irina.
Yeah, well, there are several sort of series of emails here that we're going to go over. But this Winnie Lou email is so great. It is the first email in their Abandoned Cart series, and it's like short and sweet. But the thing I love most about it is how it like plays off with the design. So you have like a really encouraging statement to start off with. You've got the obvious benefit as well in there, and then the personalization. So these are all kind of key things in the abandoned cart emails. But you're reaching out to a person. You're like, hey, listen, this thing that you were looking at, it's still available. And you're almost there, you've almost done it, so you're kind of encouraging them to move forward with their purchase. And then the thing that I love about this too is that the CTA is right there, and it like really jumps out at you, so you don't have to do much work, you don't have to think about it. You just know, if you're a customer, okay, I'm almost there, I've almost done the thing that I want to do for my pet. And then when we kind of look at the second email in this series, it will reinforce that even more. But there's a lot of great stuff going on with this. Obviously, the length, the personalization, and then also writing within that brand voice, like making sure that like we're speaking directly to the audience. So being able to present that, and then the very obvious benefit. Hey, by the way, you are going to get free shipping if you continue your purchase. So it's really, really clear. It's easy for someone to read, especially someone who's busy or doesn't really have time to go through their inbox. So that's why I really, really like this one.
Love it. And yeah, and I like that you specify that you need to spend like $49 plus to unlock free shipping. It's almost like pushing them to spend more, which is like obviously making us some brownie points because our customers are having higher average order value. So yeah, I think you guys did a really good job, both like visually and copy wise. That's amazing.
Yeah. And there's the thing that I love about Winnie Lou too, if we move over to the second email, it's kind of the same idea, but like you can see that it's a little bit longer. But the thing that I love about this brand is like, of course, the personalization, how we speak to the audience, but the fact that we're getting the benefit in front of them really, really quickly. So like get them at their freshest. That's something that like if you were a pet owner, you'd look at that and be like, oh, okay, like that's very appealing to me. And then when we like zoom in, the thing that's cool about these emails is that the important pieces of text are bolded. So like only the highest quality treats for your furry friend. Like that's something that would stand out to you if you opened it and you'd be like, oh, okay. So actually I do want the best for my pet. And then so of course, like this is longer and there's a little bit more information in here, but it's really, really clear
I
what needs.
like how the design, because I was reading the top part, which is on the, I don't know what color it is, beige, and what my eyes draw attention the next session, did you know? Because it's like always a hook if you're asking a question. I mean, there's no question, but like, did you know? Like, it sounds like a question, but it's like hooking you to continue reading. Like, do they know what?
Yeah.
Right.
And it also like establishes a little bit of that trust and credibility because they're like providing you with this relevant information. Oh, hey, like by the way, we're filling in that information gap. And then I really love from one pet parent to another because again, like being a pet parent, I think you really relate to other pet parents. So when you see that, you're like, oh, they totally know like what my concerns are for my pet. And then that makes you like trust the brand more, which is a really good thing.
Right. What I also like about this type of emails is that you typically put all of the information that they need to know in that like first fold of the email, right? So at the very top of the email, you have get them at their freshest, finish checking out. So pretty much you have majority of the information that you need to know about the product. You have some like visual representation of what this product is about. And basically that's our recommendation with all of the designs. Have that like CTA in the first fold of the email. So even if people don't scroll to the very bottom of the email, they can still go to where you want them to go. But overall, the flow of the email is really cool. So I almost like want to keep scrolling to like learn more, to like to see what's else is it for me. I love it. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
cool.
These ones are so fun too. The colors, like the bright colors and just everything pops out at you, which I love.
Right. And obviously, you guys, in all of these emails, we do have, like in majority of them, we do have the dynamic product blocks, which is not shown here because we're showing you the just like the screenshots of the design itself, but typically we'll add like the dynamic product blocks to these emails as well. Cool. Okay, Andre, let's go to the next example. This is quite unique. Tell us more about it, Irina.
Yeah, so this is a supplement brand that we work with. And I really love this email because it kind of is a little bit like on the shorter side, even shorter than maybe the first email we saw from Winnie Lou. Um, and it's great because the hook is so like evident. It's right there and it really kind of touches on a potential pain point for the audience. So maybe a lot of people that are browsing are like, "Oh, I feel like I need a little bit of supplementation to really reach like my peak health." And so to see that question right away and to see it come at you in an abandoned cart email, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is a secret to a healthier me." So it kind of like answers your question or helps you deal with your pain point. And kind of what like you were saying about having everything above the fold, Vera, this is the
Mm-hmm.
same thing where like the products are right there. Like the person reading it doesn't have to scroll very far. They don't have to do very much. Everything's right there. And then it's super clear. It's waiting in your cart. Go back to your cart. So
Right.
again, this is a little bit more transactional, but it works really well. Like the copy and design work together really well. And it's not like trying to give you too much information at once, which is really good for these types of emails.
And I love it. And honestly, I don't see very often where people put that like product block, the dynamic product block to the hero image section. But I think it's such a cool idea. It's just like basically you have everything you need to see in that like first screen of your mobile phone, even. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
and I think when we look at like the length for this too, of course it will always depend on your particular audience who you're writing for. But
Mhm.
Simply Nutrients, it's more kind of geared towards busy families and people who are maybe a little bit older and kind of have a lot on the go. And so that is a really good thing to keep in mind as you're writing an abandoned cart email because you know, whoever is busy won't have time to go through like paragraphs and paragraphs of writing, but they will have time to just open up their email, read the header, and understand what's going on. So there's a lot of value in kind of looking past just like the words or what you think should go in an abandoned cart email and learning more about like what your audience really wants to see or hear.
Nice. So do you have like a formula for the optimal length of the abandonment cart email? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the brand. Like I think some will do a lot better with longer copy, some will do better with shorter. But generally, I find that shorter is better. And when we look at kind of the essentials for an abandoned cart email, we want to make sure to understand, like, obviously what prevented, and we can chat more about this later, but we want to understand what prevented the consumer from kind of making the leap in the first place. And so, like, that's going to be hard to tell, but maybe kind of an educated guess. And trying to figure out how we can address those concerns in the email is going to be kind of the first thing you want to do. And then you're going to want to really come up with a strong angle and a compelling like hook and header. So like those two things can be longer, can be shorter. Typically, a shorter header looks better when we look at kind of how it harmonizes with design. So those are kind of the two main things. And then honestly, from there, you just want to make sure to include like a dynamic product pull so the person can see what they were looking at. That will
Mhm.
keep them more interested. And then a really clear CTA um, and really just letting your reader know what you want them to do and how to move forward. And then it's kind of debatable whether this is relevant or not because I know some examples we have on here have this and some don't. But like having like FAQs or like, oh, if you need help, reach out to us.
Mhm.
I'd say those are kind of the essentials. And then within that, you can play around with what works best for length and like storytelling and type of copy that you're going to go with.
Love it. Love it. And I actually like that in some of the emails, and possibly, like, if I understand the strategy correctly, this are the follow-up email, like reminders, abandonment cart reminders. You do provide like more information regarding the product, regarding the brand, because if they haven't converted from that email number one, we need to address the possible reasons of why they're not converting. Like, do they need to know more about the product? Is that a price? If it's a price, then maybe we can provide them some discount code. Is there like any like other questions that we can answer to them? And I really do love that we have like a FAQ section as a separate section in that email.
Yeah.
So we have one question right now in our chat, and we can ask at the end, but since it's like relevant, I will bring it uh to the screen. So it's question Vera for you, but Irina, you can answer as well if you want.
Andre, feel
please
free to
read.
join this party too.
What?
It's like, feel free to join our questions and
No,
answer party as well.
I know. It's like copy is probably one on my weakest point. I can criticize easily, but like to come up with my own ideas is hard.
Right.
So
So the
what?
question from
Okay,
Ryan
yes, go
is,
ahead.
what are the key psychological triggers to incorporate in an abandonment cart email to effectively motivate customers to complete their purchase? Love this question, Ryan. Amazing
Yeah.
question. I'll probably start, but Irina, Andre, feel free to add. Obviously, the biggest psychological strategy that we use is the scarcity and all of the abandonment cart emails. Like, we even have like special language that says like, hey, we have it now, we're gonna hold it in your cart for like the next few hours, but it might be gone like by the time you make up your mind. So that's like the biggest thing, I'd say. And we add that like moment of scarcity also to discount codes if we decide to offer them like later in the flow. All of our discount codes are time sensitive, some of them dynamic if it's Shopify. If it's like big commerce or something and you can do dynamic codes, we do them statically, but we still make them like time sensitive, so the customer actually wants to act up on them. That's the foundation. Irina, what else, like copy wise?
Yeah, well, I think definitely scarcity. And then just to that point, also urgency. Like you want to get them now, you don't want to wait, that kind of thing. But I also think it totally depends on like who you're writing for again and knowing your audience, because for some audiences, maybe something like FOMO will work a lot better. So being like, oh no, like all these people have already seen the benefits of this thing, you need to also see it, or whatever. And then maybe we pull in like UGC, some social proof.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different directions you can go with it. I think you just need to know what your audience responds best to. And that's also a great opportunity to kind of test different strategies out. But definitely, I think the biggest would be scarcity and urgency.
One more thing I
Mm-hmm.
will add, if we're talking about like advanced abandonment cart strategies, because mostly when people say about abandoned cart, they're talking about one-time customer or like, sorry, people who never purchase and you trying to
Right.
convince them to buy. But if we think about the people who already in your system, they already a customer, but you want to ask them to buy second time, third time, and so forth. So just remind them, hey, you're already a customers, and like just
Mm-hmm.
remind them, personalize. Those things work very well. And what Vera and Irina say, we also use the combination. So sometimes we use discount, expiring, what Vera said, and as well as we might not have that product anymore. But I'm personally very skeptical about that. Oh, your cart will expire. The question is like, is it really like so you will not have that product anymore? But about
Oh,
discount,
you'd be
it's
surprised. You'd be surprised, Andre, especially if it's
no,
like
I agree.
Lululemon summer sale. Are you kidding me? I put the leggings today, like in my basket. They are gone. Like I went to check before, and they sent me they emailed that, hey, your basket is waiting for you. And guess what? It didn't. It didn't, Andre. It didn't
Oh,
wait for
actually,
me.
we had a customer like Roosevelt's where you work on
Yep.
the. I mean, very upset and sorry for bringing this up, but the owner of that brand passed it away like a few days ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but we worked with that brand for a very, very long time. And people complain because they had like such a limited stock of their items. We
Mm-hmm.
send them email, they were browsing, we send them browser abandoned, and people want to buy, but everything sold out and people complain. So we had to turn off browser abandonment for
Mm.
when we were launching products.
Right. I guess good problems to have, but that's very important to understand. Yeah, the nature of your business is very important. Good question though, Ryan. Keeps bringing
Mm-hmm.
them, bring them on. Cool. Okay,
Okay,
Andre, let's
so
go to the next
should we talk about continue talking about simply nutrient or switch to Alan? I like Alan. Let's go with
Yeah.
Alan.
Yeah, let's chat about that one, because that one is very, very different in terms of structure. It's by far the longest one that we have in terms of our examples, but actually that's not a bad thing necessarily. Of course, I think there's a benefit, pros and cons to having a longer abandoned cart email. And I think probably the biggest con would just be like, is someone actually gonna like sit through and read this? But there are also a lot of pros. And so some things that this Allen email does that other emails maybe aren't doing in the same way is really just like touching on all those psychological triggers that, we mentioned a few of them this time, but then also going through different things like social proof, triggering emotions. So, make your error perfect for you. Filling in that information gap. So letting people know like this is the air quality trifecta. We our purifiers capture 99.9% of particulates. So things that maybe if you're in the consideration stage and looking at a product like this, you're like, oh, okay, like I didn't know too much about that, but now I feel like I have all the information to make an informed decision. So they kind of empower you with this email to make that decision and to move forward to the next stage. And then, like we saw, we have all that social proof. So a lot of really good elements at play here in this longer email, and it's split up in a way where it's like super readable.
And I want to highlight, because I know a little bit more about this topic since my neighbor is in air quality business, and I realized that those kind of customers, they don't care how much it costs or if you provide discount. I mean, it's nice, it's like icing on a cake, but they care more about their air quality because they have either asthma or they have allergy, and it's especially for allergy season. I would even like be more specific. Hey, it's like autumn, it's like a nice outside, but and you want to breathe it, and I like how you put it here, to your utopia air. I mean, this is the perfect like a psychological trigger for me to take action because I care about my health, and those people are obsessed about clean air quality.
Yeah, my favorite part of this email, if you scroll down a little bit, is that get the ultimate air quality trifecta. First of all, love that you call it trifecta, because it's like the three most important things that you actually care when you're purchasing this product. You kind of like addressed all of the most popular questions the customer might have right away. And I love that you highlighted. To be honest, I didn't even read the entire thing, but I see that it captures 99.9% of particles. It's very quiet, and it's has the forever warranty. So I love how you structured it.
Yeah. And an interesting thing about this one too, that I find sometimes we do, and maybe without knowing we do it, but if you scroll down even lower, there are 3 products that are kind of featured here. And this is really great too for this audience in particular, like Andrew was saying, because they only care about like the quality and like what this purifier can do. They have these options available to them. So this is another psychological trigger where Allen has effectively been able to kind of deal with that paradox of choice situation where like the customer doesn't know where to start, but actually we're going to give them some choices, but not too many, because that's kind of the thing too with humans. We think we want a lot of choices, but we don't really want that many. We just want a few. And so when we can see something like this, it's like, okay, I can start here and then kind of go from there. So all of these elements really do a great job in sort of like pulling someone back to the website to check different things out.
We actually have a question from one of our listeners. She's asking if it's images, and as far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, probably you're asking if this is the live text or the HTML email, or is it like the images? And we actually done the entire YouTube video about it, YouTube Live, really great one to check out. But typically what we do, we try to mix live text and like images. So all of our emails, they do have some sort of like live text in them.
And only
for different reasons.
For this purposes, like for this live, we took the snapshot of the entire email and put it in mirror board because it's easier for us to navigate and show it to you the some parts. And also, there's another question from Ryan.
Right. Go for it, Andre. I know you want
to. Sorry, I brought it to the screen. Do you see it? One last question. Sorry, go ahead.
No, Ryan, it shouldn't be a last question. You can ask as many questions as you
Yeah,
want.
we love questions.
We love questions. One last question I have is if following minimalist marketing methodology like Nike or Apple or Dolce follows works or not. That's a really cool question. Who wants to start?
I
Andy,
can
what do you
start.
think of minimalistic looking emails?
I will respond as a lawyer or CPA here in the state. It depends. It depends who you're, what is like what the brand is, because some
Mhm.
brands say to us. I mean, we are agency and we servicing our clients, our brands, and they having the final say. So if we design minimalistic email, but they say like, no, I don't want that. I want like bunch of stuff there. It's up to them. We just kind of we consulting them. So I personally do love minimalistic emails, and I prefer minimalistic versus overloaded emails. But again, it's based on the brand's preference, brand guide, brand profile, identity, and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And actually, this minimalistic looking emails, they can work really well for abandonment cart emails. And typically that's what we do with email number one, right? We want to have almost no distractions. So sometimes it's as simple as header, product block, CTA. I think it can work really well. But again, comes down to who you're sending to. And by the way, I'm subscribed to like way too many of the brands, especially the luxury brands. Sometimes with Dolce specifically, I've noticed that their emails are not mobile optimized. And I'm like, that's
Dolce
interesting.
Uh-oh.
is Dolce mean Dolce Gabbana or what?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm not trendy, so I was googling for. I thought it was some kind of soap or.
No, I mean, there are like a lot of brands that are starts with Dolce, but I think Ryan means Dolce Gabbana since we're talking about like the fancy high-end brands. So I was like very surprised to learn that they were not mobile optimized. So
Actually, I'm not subscribed for Dolce emails for some reason. I need to sign up now.
and
Now's the
and
time.
I'm subscribed for a few more. So I've subscribed. Well, I subscribe to way too many fashion brands, and especially those like high-end fashion brands. They are guilty of not showcasing the product in its best light because sometimes the focus is more on the model and not on the product, and you can't even see how that like dress looks like because the model is standing in the most like unnatural position and you just like have to imagine what the dress would look like on you. So I love their email as like the piece of art. It's beautiful as everything these brands are doing, but I don't think they are necessarily convert the best. That being said, a lot of this high-end fashion brands, they don't even have online stores. Very often you have to like physically go to the store or you have to physically like see the product to purchase it. We can have a separate podcast about it or YouTube live.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the goal of this emails is more like to create the awareness, right? To make the item desirable, not necessarily to convert.
Well, and just two small things to add. I think all of those brands really rely on loyalty. Like everyone knows that once you have, an iPhone or whatever, you just keep going back. And so really a lot of that is like to just keep that engagement high and to just get more people on that loyalty bandwagon. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I would say, a lot of minimalist brands, they don't really tell their story as much through the copy, but they tell it way more through the imagery. And so, like, I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a fine balance between those two things. And I think if you're someone who follows Nike, you can get their emails and totally understand what's going on. It's not a complex product. You don't really have to explain it. But you still get maybe a little bit more of that fantasy of like, oh, I could be this person in this photo. And so maybe that's something that can help convert. But yeah, I'm not sure how well they go, how well they work in terms of high converting abandoned cart emails or something like that. But definitely they lean on having that loyalty, that word of mouth, getting more people interested in the product and keeping your customers that you have really engaged.
Okay, let's
Right.
continue. Let's continue with our examples. And I personally do love givers. First of all, emails, products. I didn't splurge on $150 mittens yet, but I'm about. It's on my wish list to buy, and I love how they do the initials. I think it's amazing product to give to somebody. And I love how we did our team design this email from design perspective as well as from copy perspective, you to-do list. And if you're like workaholic, there you know what it is. And can-do attitude, good vibes, get outside. I love this, like those like motivational, inspirational things, but in checklisting. And finish givers orders which uncheck, so it's psychologically like, oh, I still need to do this.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, this email is just crazy creative, and the other email as well in the abandoned cart series for them. But I love how it's short and sweet and really, really speaks to the audience. Like I read this and I'm like, yeah, I should cross that off my to-do list.
And I love how our team also uses a lifestyle picture. Like I'm not sure if it's uh, their customers or they took it themselves, like in live what people do, like how people use their product.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of those emails in our examples here that actually has that, like, we're here to help call out, that can, again, kind of help address one of those barriers. So, again, maybe the person who was considering buying is like, oh, actually, I'm not sure. I have a certain question about this, but they haven't taken that next step to reach out to someone. So it's just great that this is here. And then they can easily just click the button and, chat with the giver team. So they make it really, really easy for the reader.
Love it. Love it. And yeah, and typically if the brand is like a bit more on like an expensive side, I've noticed that we tend to provide like more information regarding the product because the person sometimes needs more convincing compared to like $20 mascara or something. So it's I see why you did it this way. I love it.
Yeah, and then this is the second email in the series, which is great. It's definitely a lot longer, but it's great. It plays on kind of common phrasing, and then it kind of splits up the product. So again, addressing that paradox of choice, what would be best for me, for my needs, like for what I need it for. And I love when we look at writing and it kind of categorizes things. So for the warm weather workhorse, okay, so I know that if I'm working in warm weather, these are ideal for me. And then, you kind of go through. And this is fun because it kind of plays on that, almost that interactive component, not quite, but like, how consumers can like take a quiz to find out what's right for them for a brand. This is kind of the same idea.
Dear, is it your project?
Nope.
Okay, so somebody stole your style. Which glove owner are you? It's like
Great minds think aloud. Yeah.
This is so
Alike, not aloud. Yeah.
I see. No, this is so cool.
This
I
is
do
great.
love it. Oh wow, this is the personalization part. I personally love about these gloves. I
You
think they
better
can.
personalize them if they're like 120 pounds or dollars or whatever. You better personalize them. I love it. Like I
So
didn't know
Vera, so question:
I need
if
them, but I do.
if brand personalized $20 mascara, will you pay 40?
Yes, please. I'll take two. Yeah,
I see.
just works for me.
Okay, so we have a next question, and it's not about copy, but
About the delays, what are your
yep.
strategies on timing of sending abandoned cart emails? Excellent question. And other excellent questions from our listeners. Guys, I love you. So, we always like to test. As a baseline, it said the first email we typically send 4 hours after the person abandoned their cart. But that's like the very basic A/B test that we always do: 4 versus 2 hours. And you'd be surprised, it varies from client to client. And then we try to remind them in the first 3 days, like every day. And then especially if it's a more expensive product, we might follow up in 2 days after that. So it depends on what you're selling.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Vera. It depends like what you're selling, what the price point. If you're selling mascara to Vera, for example, like you might send her like in 30 minutes or 1 hour, so Vera doesn't forget and like buy
Yes,
right
please
away.
send
But
it
if you're
my way.
selling like, I don't know, gloves for $150, I think 4 hour delays or more, it's sufficient.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's something that you can always test. That's a good one.
That is a good note too, though, like for do's and don'ts. Like I think one of the biggest mistakes maybe people make with the abandoned cart series is either sending things all at once or too soon or not keeping in mind the timing. And that is like one of the most important things, because if you get them right at that time where they're still kind of thinking about it, considering it, and then they see that email again, that's really getting that message to the person exactly when it needs to be there to kind of encourage them to make the next move.
Yeah, sometimes I wish the brand sends this email sooner, to be honest, because sometimes I do wait for that like discount code to arrive before I continue my shopping. So I'm just like sitting there waiting for my 10% off, and then guess what? My cart is like all gone because they sold out. So yeah.
Cool. We
Okay.
do. What's next? Do we have the?
Yes, the next part is the fun part. Irina will demonstrate us in real life time, right, Irina?
Yeah, in real
The
time.
process, the creative process. Let's do this.
Yeah, so we can write an abandoned cart email together. So
Let's do
we'll
this.
um, we'll take a look at another brand that we work with, Tailwind Nutrition, and so I've kind of pulled in one of the basic templates for abandoned cart, and we can kind of work through the process and what we're trying to do with this email. So obviously, like, someone has taken a look at a product, and I just threw in endurance fuel because I feel like that's one of their popular products. So that's just what we can use. But again, these emails need to be pretty generic because you need to be able to really fit any product in here that the brand sells. So kind of first thing with this, and with any abandoned cart email, is figuring out like your audience and their needs. And so when we think about Tailwind, they pretty much are geared towards athletes, and it's athletes of all levels, really. So it's like if you like to go on casual hikes, if you're training for a marathon, if you're cycling, whatever. So if we're thinking about like, okay, why did this person abandon their cart? It might be a couple things. It might be price. It may be, things were a little bit too like confusing to navigate. It might be that they're not sure about like the benefits. And so, kind of to play it safe with this one, I think whoever's looking at this product understands the pricing structure and kind of understands generally what they're getting. But I think there's always value in kind of like creating that image. So, kind of storytelling a little bit with this brand in particular. So, if we're thinking about a header, and just keep in mind too, when you're writing, like, you want to make sure to appeal to um, one very clear market, right? So if you
Mhm.
write everyone, if the writing is too general, then it won't appeal to anyone. So sometimes it feels like we're leaving people out, but I think there's actually a lot of value, because if you're sending the right message to the right person, then they're that much more likely to move forward with their.
Can I just add a little bit more about this? So I'm not strong on the copy, just to be clear, but my strong thing is a strategy. So what Irina just said, you in your ESP, whatever you use, Klaviyo, Salesforce, in Cloud, HubSpot, you are able to segment, so like define your target audience and maybe create few versions and create different paths for your customer subscribers. And somebody will go through, like, let's say younger audience will receive one email, older audience will receive different kind of emails. How do you get the data? It's up to you. It's a totally different topic, but we strongly recommend personalized copy for your audience, and
Mhm.
as Irina said, to niche down.
Yeah. So with this one, we'll kind of gear it towards the trail runners, because I think that's one of their bigger markets. So if we think about a header, the key things are like, what message do I want to get across, and like, what do I want the audience to do? And so if you can use those two questions to kind of guide how you write the header, I think that's going to be best. So for this, we could say something like,
Buy this product. It's very direct. It's to the point. It's like you're like literally telling them what to do.
Uh, Irina, a question for you. Do you, or what is the common practice to write subject line and preview text after you're done with the email or before? Or it's up to the copywriter?
I think it totally depends. Like I think sometimes I write emails and I'm like, I know exactly what this is going to be. I know what it's going to be about, and so I can throw in the subject line and preview text. And so you can always start there, but a lot of the time I like to have the body copy in because things will change, and you'll kind of the two biggest pieces of advice I have for any copy is like understand your audience's needs, and like try to combat those insecurities, and then just like write and write and write and write and like find an angle that works. And then once you found that angle, you can move forward with other things. So like a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll create the body copy, or I'll create like the header and then the body copy, and then go back and fill in the subject line and preview text to make sure that it all aligns and is accurate. Because what we want is for someone to look at the subject line and preview text in their email and be like, okay, I know what this email is about. We don't want it to be leading, and we don't want it to be unethical. We want it to be something where it's very clear that they know once they open this up, it's going to be that product that they were looking at. So that's what I would recommend, is kind of get the bulk of it down first, but sometimes the subject line comes much easier, and then that can help you build your email. So totally depends on the person, totally depends on the situation.
Okay.
So, okay. So for this one, let's do something like add it to your race kit, because maybe we have trail runners that are doing like a trail race or something. So that's pretty clear what we want them to do. There's this product. It's going to be good for races because it provides like all-in-one nutrition. So now in the body copy, I would say the first thing we want to do is make sure that we add some personalization. So I would add their name. Or we could even say, hey, name. Let's do that because it's more conversational.
But which, like we also spoke on the last live about fallback value. What kind of fallback value would you use here? If let's say if we don't have their information, we don't want to just put hey and blah blah blah. We want to use some fallback value. What would you use here?
I think here there are some standard ones. Like I think friend is always a really good one. Hey, friend.
But can we use something like which if you gearing toward trail runner? Sorry, you said towards runners, correct?
Yeah.
Can we do something, hey runner, or it's
Yeah, we could do that. And again, it will totally kind of depend on how the client wants to address their audience as well too. Because if they want to be like, hey, speed racer, like we can put that as the fallback.
hey achiever.
Yeah. I think in the interest of kind of keeping things friendly and kind of casual, these guys have a pretty casual brand voice. I would say something like friend, or you could even go with like outdoor enthusiast, or something like that. So of course, this is just going to be kind of the general statement. So, okay, so to kind of pick up the pace a little bit on this email here, I think we could just say something like, you left this all in one nutrition in your cart. And then you just have the product there. So again, calling out a clear benefit, this all in one nutrition, it's in your cart. Check it out. Here's a product. So pretty easygoing. And then I think what we can do also to make it a little bit more like that image where the customer can see themselves using the product. We could put a little bit more storytelling kind of underneath the product, because we want to make sure that the endurance fuel or whatever product that they were looking at is really close to the top, so that they can see it right away and kind of remind themselves of, oh yeah, I was interested in this thing. Maybe they have some event in their head or whatever that they were interested in. So to pull some of that storytelling in, I feel like we can just we can go with something like, whether you're climbing switchbacks, and this will be again, you're going to want to understand what your audience is interested in. So like this audience will be hiking or running or biking. So we'll tie some of that in so they can see themselves using the product. Or cycling.
I love this technique a lot, because sometimes I watch YouTube videos and people use this like either you're starting YouTube or already have a channel. Basically, they talk to about everybody, but they kind of
Yeah.
hitting me with the second part, and it's very powerful technique. I personally believe for grabbing people's attention.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we can do something like this. Now, this is comes out a little bit long. We can always kind of workshop it, but really kind of painting that picture. We can even do what we saw in some of the other emails. So, like bolding the important things. I'm a really big fan of this because it gets across all of the important information. So, for this, maybe we don't necessarily. Oh, that's way too small. We don't necessarily need them to kind of see the climbing switchbacks or cycling valleys. We have nutrition that doesn't need a spreadsheet, which is again the biggest benefit and kind of leans into that education piece. So,
Oh,
okay,
I love it. I
this
love
is
that it's nutrition that doesn't need a spreadsheet.
yeah, and these
Amazing.
guys have a really, really strong brand voice. It's very established, and they have all these great things to lean on. But all-in-one nutrition that doesn't need a spreadsheet, again, kind of speaks to that audience because it's easy, especially if you're running a race, especially if you're, doing something on the trails in the middle of nowhere and you really need like fuel. This is really going to speak to that audience. So you have
Irina, when you said like running in the middle of nowhere, like it reminded me you. Like every time
Right.
you
That's
travel, it's
totally
like Irina running somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
right.
well, I think definitely I do some of that stuff, but I was just at a race a while ago and I saw some 100 milers come in. They
Oh,
were
wow.
running 100 miles. I was like, "Oh my gosh, imagine."
Isn't it your boyfriend? Isn't your boyfriend running like this ultra marathons? He's like a
Yeah.
superhuman.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
in the 100K. It's so funny. He finished and then the 100 milers were still coming in like when my race started the following day. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like
Right.
Wow.
this is
Like he
crazy."
casually did, like when Irina and her boyfriend were staying with us, he like casually did his like 10K, 20K before I had my first cup of coffee. That's amazing. You guys are superhumans. I'm in awe of you. So I think this brand is like perfect for you as a copywriter. It's just like you vibe with it so well.
Yeah, I love these guys. I think they're doing really cool things. And so I think that's part of it too. When you write for a brand that you like really get or would use, I think that's really, really important because you understand more what that audience is looking for. Um, so for this, if we do just kind of want to include some more psychological tactics, we can add some reviews. And so we can proven on the trails. So again, this is something that is kind of a more common statement for these guys, but I really love it because it does again speak to the audience. So just another subheader to break things up. I really like that even in emails like this that are either a little bit shorter or maybe we want to add a little more info to make it longer, but just having different headers. And then here we can just add like 2 to 3 reviews, which I don't have right now, but we can add those in. And so that again is a social proof. And just keep in mind, like if other people trust your brand, then people who are reading the email will read it and they'll be like, oh, cool. And especially with something like this, where we see the clear benefits of like, hey, some reviews are like, I tried to run this race and I couldn't because of my stomach issues, but then I tried this product and it's amazing and it totally took all of that away. For someone like me seeing that, I'd be like, oh, wow, I have the exact same problems. That's so cool that it worked for this lady. I'm going to give it a shot. So
In addition to that review, I would like the review, the original review, but then their first name and last name maybe. But through comma, I will put also like what kind of the sports
mhm.
they doing, like climbing or stuff like, and maybe combine have multiple reviews as you have from different sports.
Yeah, totally. Being able to split them up and just be like, this person's doing this thing, maybe you're doing the exact same thing. This might work for you as well. Um, and then kind of the last thing to add here, and again, not all emails have this one, but I like the idea of having just an opportunity to reach out to the brand directly. So have some questions, and you can say something as simple as, check out our FAQs here, or reach out to us here. And then, of course, you would want to link these, hyperlink them, and then you have that information. Or you could even add another CTA that's like, hey, talk to our crew here. So really, really bare bones, pretty basic, but still like paints that picture, tells the reader the clear benefit, and then splits things up and offers a little bit of assistance. So this is kind of just one way to do an abandoned cart email. Of course, you can take it to a lot of different places and try different things, but I like this because it's short and sweet and really gets some of those tactics going, and then also encourages someone who is hopefully in the right audience for us to move forward with their purchase, move out of that consideration stage and become a customer.
And I think the FAQ section also important because people left product in their cart for some reason. Maybe it's too expensive, maybe shipping is too expensive, but maybe they have questions. And it's good idea to include either FAQ or way to reach out to the brand to ask question, because maybe they didn't think about asking questions. So I love this. So we are running short on time. We still have 5 minutes. So a few things. First of all, if you run e-commerce brands or you work for e-commerce brands, we offer free email marketing audit where our team of experts can review your copy or your design and provide you feedbacks. Did I include the right link? Yeah. So because sometimes it's bad to include different link. Yeah. So like it's a complimentary from our team. We do a bunch of audits on a weekly basis for brands, and we helping a lot of brands 100% complimentary. And also, Irina and Vera, we have one more questions. Let me just go to chat. And the question is, let me just hide this. So have you worked with industries that rely heavily on direct response copy? Maybe I'm misreading this email, but abandoned carts is direct response. Like
Yes.
we want them.
Pretty much with all of our clients use the direct response copy because all of our copy in the flows anyways is triggered by certain action that the customer is doing. So this is the direct response as far as I understand.
I might be wrong, but sometimes I hear in the industry where people, when they say direct response, they no images, it's like very long copy text, like trying to sell them the product in the long copy text. So maybe that's the question, but I might be wrong.
And if that's what you mean, just like a plain text, like no images, just like copy heavy, we do have clients who like use that format as well sometimes.
Yeah. To your question, direct response is just pretty much anything where we're like getting that user to take an action right away. And so like that's pretty much all of the emails that we're creating here. But then of course, if we're talking about plain text and kind of copier heavy, we do have brands that like that, but that again is kind of worth testing because I think for some brands it will be great and it will work really well, especially when we consider kind of the more personal conversational tone of those longer form plain text emails. But then for others, it's really beneficial to have like imagery in there to kind of keep the attention a little bit more, especially considering the fact that like people get a million emails in a day. So being able to stand out and maybe not have like blocks and blocks of text. But even if you are doing that, there's a great way to do it. Like you just really need to make sure there's enough white space. You need to make sure that it's in that brand voice that the people who are reading it know exactly who it's coming from and can relate to it. And of course, kind of the ethics piece as well, where you're having a conversation, you're sharing information, you're providing value instead of just like solely pushing for sale.
Great. Thank you, Irina. So we 2 minutes to the end. So I just want to say thank you very much, Irina, for sharing your knowledge. I love the work kind of small workshop or example we went through, and you explaining us your logic, how you did this. So thank you very much.
It was very helpful. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your other examples of work. It was very inspirational. I kind of know the way you're thinking now. So maybe it will help us as strategists to do a better job to deliver like better results. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me. This has been great. And I also learned a lot about kind of the strategy piece. I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. So it's great to hear from you kind of what you've seen and what works. And I'm excited to put some of this stuff into practice more.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye.